Welcome back to The Pursuit of Myself, the podcast. I'm your host, Rain, and holy crap, I have had the most incredible feedback from you. I have been interacting with all of you. I am so grateful that you're even listening, let alone reaching out. And, one of the biggest comments or the most compliments that I get is, I feel like you're speaking to me. And that invokes so much in me because yes, I've been on a journey. Yes, everyone's been on a journey. But when you start revealing your soul, when you start becoming vulnerable in this space, whether it be seeing me on Instagram, whether you're in my coaching groups, which I tend to go really raw in there, or whether now in this podcast, to think that just by me sharing my story is touching the hearts of you and giving you the confidence, or even simply just inspiring you to have a look at your life and say, where am I? What am I doing? What do I want? Am I on this path? Is this path for me? How do I start shifting and changing? And how do I get in touch with my inner world? It really, really means a lot to me. So thank you. It's really cracked me open. And for a long time, even on Instagram, it's so interesting because I put this stuff up. And for a long time, part of me is like, oh, no one's watching or no one's listening anyway. So whatever, just go. And I don't know whether I've used that as a bit of a defense mechanism or whether that's just been something that when you put things out into the internet, it's like, yeah, maybe no one does watch. So, and that's totally fine. But anyway, I just wanted to bring that to the attention because I really, really needed it. I'm really grateful. And it really has reminded me why this work matters so much. So in today's solo episode, I want to pull back a little bit of the curtains and talk to you about what it actually means to be supported. It's something that I struggled with asking for a very, very long time. And then I found my own way to do that. And I want to let you know why. This isn't about band-aiding. This isn't about, trying to connect in this supported, deeper level with your friends or your family because, a lot of the times they are just not capable of giving you what you need. And that's something that I've had to make peace with. But I want to open the door and go a little bit deeper into how I eventually got supported, what I did to get supported, how I found my courage to get supported, and my process through that. So welcome, grab a coffee, sit down. I want these episodes to be really chatty. You guys have had some really awesome questions on my Instagram. So if you're listening to this and you want to ask a question, I'm so happy to answer it live. Comment down here on whether it's Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or chuck into my Instagram account and let me know there. So welcome. Hope you have that coffee and let's get stuck in. Welcome to the Pursuit of Myself, the podcast. Here we take ownership of our healing. We rewrite the rules, we turn knowledge into wisdom, and we lead our lives with intention. I'm your host, Rain, and it's my mission to empower you to get back into the driver's seat of your life. So just speaking a little bit more into the feedback and the DMs, the reviews, the shares, I am so humble. And for anyone that hasn't reached out or said anything or shared anything, I know that so many of you are quietly listening. Maybe you aren't ready to take that leap into what the next step could look like for you just yet. But the fact that I know that you're listening and that you're here means that maybe that's just that little inch that you've been looking for to start exploring this world. I hope that this episode really lands for you. But I want you to also know that, if you are quietly listening, you're not alone in this. So many people feel when they are not in alignment with their life, when they're, sad, anxious, depressed, when they feel lonely, but maybe you have a family and you still feel lonely. Like, I want you to know that you're not alone. Because that is the number one killer of dreams, is when we tend to isolate ourselves and think, oh, this is me. This is my experience, yes, but feeling like no one else has ever gone through the same thing. When you start seeking support and start speaking to people, you actually realize that, maybe what you're going through isn't so unique. Maybe you don't have to isolate yourself. Maybe there are people that are around you that can support you, that can hold you through this. But every single message I've received, every quiet nod, every moment that you've listened, maybe in the car, maybe folding your washing, maybe I was weeding yesterday, maybe weeding the garden. I feel you and I see you. And I'm just so, so grateful that you're here. So for a really long time, and still to this day, I struggled to ask for help and struggled to ask for support. So there comes a time in our lives where we realize that, it's easier if I just do it myself. Actually, I remember my mum saying that when she was washing the dishes once in the kitchen. My mum had 4 daughters. I'm the eldest of 4. And I remember her saying once, it's just easier if I do it myself. And as the eldest, I was like, oh my God, that's so sad. Are we really that nuts? Are we really that unhelpful? Like, poor mum. And now in my life, like with 3 kids of my own at home, I really kind of understand that statement. But it is also a statement, and I know we've touched on this in the previous podcast of I'm fine. It's also a statement that kind of says, okay, no one can do it as good as me. I'm just going to get it done. If I'm in control, then things will be the way that I want them. And I just know that the job will get done. And there's an element of that is fine. As you know, I love that word. But there's also the element of that it becomes when we put our armour on, and we put this armour on to say, I'm just going to do it myself. So over time, what happens is we don't ask for help. Let's say if we need help picking up the kids, if we need help cleaning the house, if we need help with finances, if we need help, on a holiday, you fill in the blank for yourself. But over time, when we do everything ourselves, that gap between us and asking for help and support gets larger and larger. And it also gets larger if you are tending to be the strong one in your friendship group, the strong one in your family, because when we ask for help, maybe, just maybe, they don't actually know how to support you. And what happens then is we stick our head out of the cage and we're like, okay, I'm really struggling right now. Can someone help? But what happens is when people aren't used to getting asked, they kind of don't give you the response that you expect, don't give you what you need. The evidence then piles up in your brain that no one can help me, no one can support me, so I'm going to do this myself. And then we go back into our cage and keep going. And the cycle continues. So I remember, and I have also said this, I know that mum said to me once, how do you support the strongest person in the room? And it was a really interesting concept, because when you really think about that, it's like if I'm the strongest person in the room, someone is going to find it hard to support me. If I break down, if I need support, if I need help, they're like, you're supposed to be the strong one. Like, I don't know what to do here. So early on in my days, well, I would say early on, it could have happened a lot sooner. I decided that I needed to seek support outside of my family, outside of my friends, outside of even the community that I was in, because the identity of I could do it all myself that I'd carried for so many years, I struggled to take that mask off and ask for support within that circle. So I needed to go far and wide. And interestingly, when I started getting coached and having a mentorship, my life changed drastically. And I want to, this is not a podcast about why you need to get a coach and a mentor. This episode is about you exploring the idea that you get to be supported in whatever way that actually looks like and feels like to you. Because what I see so often is so many women and men sitting back in their cycle of maybe you're going to work, home to the kids, get up early, go to the gym, going to work, home to the kids, all the things. Everyone goes in a cycle, unhappy, unfulfilled. And suddenly it's like, okay, I really don't know what I want to do here. I really don't know how to approach my life here. I really want change, but I feel stuck. Right? I need change, but I need the money because we've got bills and I've got responsibility and this is what my husband expects of me. And the cycle and the lists of things of why you keep things the same go on and on and on. Now, what happened for me when I started reaching out to get support is my whole perspective on life changed. Now, before I go into that, I want to actually tell you what mentorship actually really is. Right? So mentorship in my world is when you find an expander, someone that you look up to, someone that inspires you, someone that's walked a tough path that you can relate to. When you find an expander and you actually work with them closely, intimately, every day for at least 3 to 6 months. And let me tell you why that's important. The mentorship that changed my life was this mentorship, because what happens is when we go to a session, and then maybe it's weekly, maybe it's fortnightly, maybe it's monthly, you have big gaps in between, right? And in those gaps is where all the limiting beliefs, all the shadows, all the doubts, all the self-sabotage start creeping in. Now, if you're trying to leave your job and step into your soul-led entrepreneurship business. If you have left your marriage and you are trying to build a business, raise the kids, make more money, if you are healing from body image, if you are healing from whatever it is, to have that support all the time is actually how you get to collapse time and grow. And when you have that support from someone that you look up to, that inspires you, you can be held accountable to, time collapses and you get to heal really quickly. And that is my experience, because for me, I tried to do things on my own for a very long time. I can do it myself, mummy. I did it on my own for a very long time. And yes, I read all the books and I listened to the podcast. Actually, you know what? Podcasts weren't even a thing when I started this journey, but I definitely read a ton of books and I scoured the internet and I did lots of courses and I did lots of therapies, right? But the one thing that actually changed my life was when I got into the room with someone who held space for me, because they had my bigger picture. They could see my blind spots. They could work through my limiting beliefs. They could tell me, and with loving criticism, or not even criticism's not in the word, I've never felt criticized, but with a loving perspective, with loving feedback, how I could look at things and life differently. Because as you know, when we're in it, it's like we have our blinkers on. It's really hard to see where your own blind spots are. And my journey actually started when Alex Waters, I think the biggest thing to understand about mentorship is the job is not to actually fix you. The job is not to come in and wave a magic wand, although that is one question that I ask all my clients. And then if I can wave a magic wand, what would that be? But the job is not actually to fix you. It's about to meet you where you're at, hold you to the highest standard that you know is available to you. And then when you get wobbly, hold your vision. See in you your highest self. It's about reminding you who you are before you were told what you needed to be in this life. It's about teaching you skills and tools to tap into that higher self of knowing that you were meant for more, knowing that you can create more, knowing that you can be more abundant, in more joy. Before all the stories that came in of the self-doubt, the loathing, the self-sabotage, the stuckness, before that came in, we get to work together to meet you at your highest self level. And especially the beauty is, for me anyway, in my experience, is when I get wobbly, I get to connect in and have someone hold that higher self for me. Instead of being wobbly and going to a friend or a family member who doesn't actually see my vision like I do and going to them and them not knowing how to hold me, I get to go to my mentor and she knows how to hold me. She knows how to guide me through, so that essentially I am doing the work, but I am being held. Essentially, I kind of look at it as not having my hand held, but having someone walk beside me whilst I build this life that I know that I want. And when that life starts to come in, it's like, wow, this is actually a thing. And then we get to hold more space and we get to go to a higher vision and we get to tap into more abundance. And I'm like, what? To have someone walk beside me and hold me accountable and keep me on this path, holding my vision, has been a magic that I've experienced for years now. And I've absolutely love it. You know, coaching is not actually about giving advice. Mentorship is not just about sharing the wisdom. It's being seen, it's being challenged, it's being guided, it calls you forward, like in real time by someone who is there and who has done the work. And there is so much noise out there in the coaching world. And most of it actually completely misses the point. Coaching, the way I see it, is not about giving the answers, or fixing what's broken, because no one's actually broken. You might be exhausted, you might be disconnected, you might be burnt out, unsure, not have a vision, no clarity of what you want, but it doesn't mean that you're broken. The truth is that this kind of work, it's not always easy. It is a commitment. It is a commitment to yourself, but it's a commitment to yourself for the many, many, many years to come. And I work with women when we're working on identity. We rewrite beliefs that have been unconsciously running the show for decades that you can't even see. We calm the nerves, we claim back who we are and what we actually, until it feels safe, until that higher self feels safe enough to take action. It is not bypassing and waving the wand. Like I said, it's not about sugarcoating. It is actually teaching you how to get really, really honest with yourself, how to meet the parts of you that you've ignored, how to meet the parts, the shame that you have hidden, that you've buried, so that you can actually move through life and shed the stuff that no longer serves you. Because the energy of shame, guilt, overwhelm, burnout, we might think that we're doing it all, but I'm telling you now, this energy, it leaks, and it is a leaky energy, and you won't necessarily know where it is, but it will be leaking into your finance. It'll be leaking into your relationship. It'll be leaking into your health. It's a really big one I see. But the moment you realize, that you've been outsourcing your power in your relationships, you've been outsourcing the power in your business, in your own body, it's the moment you get to stand up and actually choose something different. So this is where I find the coaching and the mentorship so powerful. So my mentorship journey started, I think it was I had already become a Reiki therapist, and I'd already been running my group coaching programs for a couple of years. And a person that I know was running a retreat. And let me tell you about this retreat, because it is actually one of the biggest pivotal moments in my life. I had so much resistance to this retreat. It was 6 days away. I was like, how am I going to get 6 days away from my kids? I'm a single mum. It was with people that I didn't know. The only person that I knew was the coach. And he just said, you've got to come. And I had so much fear. I almost had resentment when I put my deposit down, because I was like, I can't believe I've done that. I've put my deposit down. That means I'm committed. And I kind of resented him for it. But I got there, and everyone had done like the detoxing and the colonics before, and, all ready for this retreat, because it was incorporating plant medicine, which is another thing I'll get to in a minute. And here I was working until 11 p.m. the night before. I remember having a dirty martini, going back to my friend's house and being like, holy shit, I actually have to be at this 6-day retreat like in a few hours. Wish me luck. Here we go. Everyone else is health kick and detoxed and, Anyway, I got there the next morning, and I remember walking in, and the coach came up and just gave me a really big hug, and he just said, like, I'm so glad you're here. And I just burst into tears. And it was one of the first times, I don't want to get that wrong. It's just so funny when these emotions just start coming back. I just remember it was the first time in a long time that I had felt seen. It's like, wow, this is what I get to feel like. Everyone was strangers, but everyone was looking at me, coming out, giving me hugs, and just saying, so glad you're here. So nice to meet you. We've got you. And my goodness, Rain. I'm going to get this story out, I promise. And that was the beginning of this massive pivotal moment in my life. Now, yes, there was incredible journeys with plant medicine that cracked me open. We had a really big one to begin with, to the big ceremony. It was all very beautiful and very held. There was lots of support coaches. And I just remember thinking, wow, there is another way to have this shift for me, because what it did, and again, I'm advocating for everyone to find what's right for them. And I'm not saying that we need plant medicine to break ourselves open. We don't. I've seen it many, many times. I do not use plant medicine with my clients, and we have huge shifts and breakthroughs. But for someone like me, who was so stubborn and so stuck in my ways and, building my business and doing all the things, and I found it really profound, the effect that it had on breaking me open, to shut down all my identity and all my belief systems, to be able to look at life through a different lens, which was through pure love and connection and gratitude. And it really broke down some walls for me. At the retreat, it wasn't just about that. We had some incredible trauma release breathwork sessions. We had lots of journaling, lots of education. It was a really intense 6 days. We even actually had a ceremony where you stand up naked in front of the whole group, and you take it in turns to go stand into the middle of the group and say what your biggest fear is. And I can't actually remember. What was my biggest fear? I think my biggest fear was being alone, not being alone. I'll come back to that. I can't actually remember, but you stand literally in front and everyone says, like, we see you. And it is like I was choking before, was not doing it. And then I did it because everyone did it. It was magic. We had anger release sessions. We had all these things. And I remember coming out of that retreat thinking, this is what it's like to feel held. This is what it likes to feel supported. And from being broken open, and I was never the same again after that. My group coaching changed. My Reiki therapy changed. The way I showed up changed. What I wanted in my life changed. And I just sort of ran with it. From there, I jumped into the group coaching program, which a lot of the people did, a lot of the guests on the retreat. And I learnt more about myself again, having 3 support coaches, 20 people in the groups, learnt more about who I was and what I wanted and where I was going than I had ever done before. It was like all the years of my self-help, of doing it on my own, like smashed into this one 4-month course where I just rode this wave of like, I'm doing it. I'm smashing that. This is my belief. I don't want that anymore. This is what I want. This is how I manifest. It was freaking magic. And so from then on, knowing what that felt like, all I've wanted to do ever since then is give people an opportunity to step into the same and preach what this beautiful inner work can do and what it can actually bring to your life. I have so many clients that I work with and so many incredible testimonials and, tear-jerking comments and shares. And this is my friend and she really is. And like even the retreat that I hold and the workshops that I do, that I just know if I don't stand here and sing the song of the opportunity for people to change their lives through mentorship or through this coaching method, then I'm not doing what I came here to do. And this isn't about, as I said, selling. This isn't about forcing you to do something, but this is about me sharing my journey through this to becoming and doing what I'm able to do today. Most of the women I work with, are so capable, and it's never actually about ability. It's about identity. It's about untangling who they were told to be so that they can lead themselves forward. And sometimes we are so deep in that identity that we can't see a way out. We can't see out of our stuckness, out of our numbness. And that's what working with someone on a consistent level, that's what you actually get to do. So there's accountability. Now, did I judge the coaching industry before all this? Yes, I did. I remember almost turning my nose up when someone said, I'm a life coach. What do you do? I'm a life coach. And this, I was like, even before I became a Reiki therapist, I was like, what do you do? I'm a Reiki therapist. Oh, what even is that? That's like energy healing, like blah, blah, blah. I judged. I turned my nose up. I was one of those people. I'm not even going to shy away from that. And it was so interesting when I got the call, I'm going to say the universal call, the spirit guide call, it's my Reiki master. She was like, you're doing this. And I was like, oh, okay. Jen McMahon, she's like, here, you are doing this. And I was really, really taken aback when my whole body was like, yes. My mind said no. My whole body said yes, right? And when I started to really understand what I was doing and where I was going without judging myself, we started to forge this beautiful path to a new way of being, a new way of creating a business, a new way of having a purpose, a new way of abundance, a new way of being at home with my children whilst helping people and making money. And it was the path of mentorship that absolutely, without a doubt, got me there. So let's talk about what actually becomes possible when you say yes. Maybe you're considering, maybe you're not. Maybe you're just here to listen to my story. Every part of you and everyone is welcome. But when you say yes to something that is scary, when you invest your hard-earned money into your own personal growth, and it's really interesting actually, because my coach, Rebecca Antonucci, she's like, she has invested, oh my gosh, hundreds of thousands of dollars into coaching. And I have invested tens of thousands of dollars into coaching, like tens of thousands of dollars. So to actually get to where we are has not been only investment, not been only courses, but you are actually looking and living in a huge lot of life experience, as well as people that are so invested in themselves and in their inner work that they are willing to invest and put their money in, willing to invest in their own personal growth. And let me tell you, you don't invest in your personal growth simply just to make money. If you could invest in your personal growth and you could be guaranteed to live joyous, abundant, creative, magic life, like that is worth 100 times and any other investment. 100 times. If you're just looking to invest in a business strategy, but you are not doing your inner personal work, you will only get so far. It is investing in yourself and your inner world and marrying them up with your dreams and desires so that you can create a roadmap for where you want to go. That is where the magic is. So, when we say yes, it's not just saying yes to the external stuff. You might, yes, launch the business, leave the relationship. You might want to speak on stage. You might finally start getting paid what you're worth. But the real shift is actually in how you move through your life every single day. It's in walking up and not immediately feeling like you're behind and that everyone else is following their dreams. It's walking into your life knowing that you actually belong there, right? It's in making a decision out of confidence and not out of fear and self-doubt and people-pleasing, right? Holding yourself emotionally, energetically, and practically in moments that used to break you, seeking connection in your relationship rather than wanting to run away from it. It makes you less reactive. It helps you to speak instead of shrink. It helps you to trust yourself instead of following other people's systems. It doesn't mean that life stops lifing all around you, but you'll still be tested. The difference is, though, that you're no longer waiting for someone else to save you, approve of you, or tell you that it's safe. You actually become your own safety net. My goal is to let women know that they can lead themselves and that they can lead their life. They don't have to do life on other people's terms. Yes, we have responsibilities. Yes, we have considerations. Yes, we even have compromises. But you can still, amongst all that, learn how to lead yourself in a way that you trust and know that your light, what you are building, is only going to create more light for everyone around you. That you staying small is not the answer. You staying small is not the answer to avoidance, is not the answer to keeping your marriage together, is not the answer to anything, because light creates light. Darkness creates darkness. And if we can commit to leading ourselves from a very authentic, loving place, even if it's inch by inch, we get to start building a life that we love and of connection. And we get to look through a different lens. We get to look for solutions. We get to look for inspiration. We get to look for action that's aligned rather than the brain telling you all the reasons why you can't. So leading yourself through step by step is my deepest belief that when we do that, when we actually find the confidence to shine, everyone around you is better for it. Everyone. Not one person is not better for you shining. And that is my biggest statement today. Not one person benefits from you not shining. That is just your ego trying to avoid feeling unsafe or feeling like you're guilty or feeling like something that is not ownership of you. Your light is the gift that you get to give to everyone else. And that is what I want everyone to really hone in on and explore for themselves. So if you're sitting here thinking, what a load of crap, then go away. No, I'm kidding. No one better be thinking that. But if you're sitting here and thinking, I feel like she's speaking to me, I want this, I'm ready for this, I don't know where to start, here's how you can step in with me. So I've created very intentional ways that we can enter each other's world, depending on where you're at in your journey and what kind of support you needed. So my biggest way that I support people, or my most intimate way, is my one-on-one mentorships. And this is for the woman who is ready now. This is for the woman that's like, you know what, I want this. This is an investment, but this is for the woman that's like, okay, let's fucking go. She's not waiting for the perfect time. She's not done, she's done circling the same patterns. She knows that there is something more, and she's ready to go all in on herself, on her relationships, on her business, on her health. It is a deep, personal, responsive way to work with someone. It's where we dismantle old identities, we shift all the subconscious patterns, and we build new levels of emotional and energetic mastery. Because as I said, my goal is that you get to lead your life in business, in relationships, but being fully expressed and unapologetic. So I know it can sound really harsh, but in these mentorships, we don't work with quote unquote victims, not trauma victims, but women that aren't ready to rock up and be like, hey, I'm ready to do this work. Because, I don't want to waste anyone's time, I'm proud of what I do. My investment of time, energy, mentorship, wisdom, guidance, knowledge is investing in you. So I want to see you win. I want to see you grow, and I want to see you ready to step in and do the work. So if you're ready to do this work, then this one-on-one mentorship is for you. The other thing that I offer that I've been doing for so many years, and it's getting larger and larger, is my beautiful group program. So if you're ready to start peeling back layers, this is a foundational program. So the Align and Elevate program that I run is for women who want to really figure out who they are. So it is the somatics, it is the belief systems, it's the conditionings, it's the programming, and I teach you how to manifest from there. But the beauty about the group program, which is what I got to experience in my first mentorship, is that you get to practice showing up. You get to be seen. You get to hold your truth in spaces that actually feel safe and expansive. So it's not about shouting the loudest and going into your family home and going, hey, this is me. This is like you get to slowly discover who you are, letting yourself or your authentic self take the lead again in your life. It is a really beautiful sisterhood. The reflection, the support is potent, and it's where so many of my clients have their biggest light bulb moments. It's also where most of my clients start, because building those beautiful foundations, it's like you can't fertilize. If you don't fertilize your soil, if you don't water it, nothing's going to grow, right? But we need to set these foundations of who am I? What is my purpose? What do I want? Get clarity on that so that we can water our soil and build the foundations and let the trees and the plants and the beautiful things grow on top. It also means when the root system of our being is deep and strong, it means that when the wind comes, when the tornado comes, when the waves comes, you don't fall over. You might sway with the wind, you might get taken around, but you don't fall down, right? This is why we need the really strong foundation. So so Align and Elevate is a really beautiful place to start. The other thing I've just started doing, which holy crap, we've done one workshop and it was so powerful. If you are craving a real life body-led breakthrough, there's my in-person workshop. This is with a woman who wants to actually get into a room with me. This is someone who is like, I really need a circuit breaker. I need something to break my patterns now. We shake things up. We move our bodies. We do a lot of embodiment practice. We go deep. We move fast. That's what I love about these workshops. And I know that you will walk out with more clarity. You will walk out with conviction and a confidence that maybe you hadn't felt in a long time. My first workshop, everyone was exchanging numbers because they just love the community, love giving someone a hug, love feeling like they're not alone. That is what I love about the workshop. I'll put all this information in the show notes below, including the dates of the workshop and Elevate. And if you want the one-on-one, there'll be an application down there as well. If you're not sure which one's right for you, just reach out. You can always DM me on Instagram. I am there. We can have a chat. I have no issue with connecting and talking to you guys about this because this is what I love. If you've worked with me before, you will know that connection is one of my most biggest authentic values, and that's what I live my life by. Right. I just want to take a moment to reflect and call you forward and reassure you in all of this world that might seem so big. Investments might seem big, life might be hard, you might feel stuck and numb, but I just want you to know that this is available to you. Like you're not behind, you're not broken, you just don't know the way yet. And if that is you and you don't know your way, that is also okay. You get to ask for help and support from people that have walked a path and have inspired you to say, hey, how do I do this? What is a way forward for me? But the action has to come from you. The aligned action, the yes, the investment, the movement has to come from you. No one else can do that for you. No one else did it for me. Had to do that for myself. I had to wake up one day and say, fuck, I'm going to do this. I'm going to find a way. I'm going to make a way out of no way. I'm just going to do it because, and you know, what I would say to that woman or girl, I should say, of myself back then, if I was channeling her right now, I would be looking her straight in the eye with my hands on her shoulders and I'd be saying, Rain, I am so proud of you for saying yes to that. Rain, I'm so proud of you stepping into this because look at the life we get to live now. Look at what that hard decision that you made all those years ago. Look at the fruit that is falling off the tree. There's so much fruit that I can't even eat it at this time. Random analogy, I know, but that is what's coming to me. If you ever work with me, you'll know I'm an energetic. I get these random downloads and things that come into my mind. I'm so proud of that Rain that said yes to herself, even in her darkest moments, that found the courage to find a way out of no way. Because I know this journey was meant for me. I know that I'm meant to be here. I know I'm meant to be recording this podcast. I know I'm meant to be healing, continuously peeling back layers, continuously working on myself while I build businesses and step higher into my purpose and passion and raise my children and take them on a holiday. We're going on a holiday really soon. I cannot wait. But that feeling of knowing that a decision I made back then, even though it was hard, was the beginning of the fruits that I'm now actually getting to experience now is such a beautiful feeling, and I want that really for everyone. So I'm going to leave you with this. If you loved it, please share it. Please comment, please review. What do they all say on the podcast? Yep, do all those things. But I'm really loving being here, and I'm just grateful for you. So I will see you in the next episode. Ciao.